There's a real sense of anticipation building around the New England Patriots as the 2026 draft approaches, and honestly, it feels like this front office is sitting on a gold mine of opportunities. When you look at the number of picks they've stacked up, it's impossible not to start imagining all the different directions they could go. We're talking about a team that not only has a late first-round selection, but also a deep collection of mid- and late-round picks that could easily be turned into something more aggressive if they decide to move around the board. And if there's one thing we've learned over the years, it's that this organization is never afraid to make a move when the moment feels right. Even so, if they decide to stay put and play this thing straight, the first-round decision becomes absolutely critical. Sitting at pick number 31, the Patriots are in a position where they can either grab a high-upside prospect or address a major need with immediate impact. And when you really break down this roster, one thing stands out more than anything else. They need help on the edge. There's talent there, sure, but not enough to truly strike fear into opposing quarterbacks on a consistent basis. That's why going with an edge rusher here just makes too much sense to ignore. That brings us to a name that continues to gain traction, a player who has all the tools to become a difference maker at the next level. Standing at 6'3" and weighing around 265 pounds, this is the kind of athlete who immediately grabs your attention. He's got the size, the strength, and most importantly, the explosiveness that you look for in a modern pass rusher. What really stands out, though, is the production he showed not too long ago. In one of his standout seasons, he was living in the backfield, piling up tackles for loss, getting to the quarterback with consistency, and forcing turnovers in key moments. Now, sure, the most recent season didn't quite match that level of dominance, and that's something critics will point to right away. But context matters. The overall performance of his team took a step back, and when that happens, it can affect everything from scheme to individual opportunities. Despite that, the underlying traits didn't disappear. The pressure numbers were still there, the disruption was still noticeable, and the physical tools remained undeniable. This is not a player who suddenly forgot how to play football. If anything, he's a player who might be even more motivated to prove that his earlier production is the true version of who he is. What makes him even more intriguing is his versatility. This isn't just a guy who lines up wide and tries to beat tackles around the edge every single snap. He has the ability to slide inside, use his hands effectively, and create problems for guards who aren't ready for that kind of quickness. That inside-out flexibility is something defenses absolutely love, especially in a system that values creativity and unpredictability up front. You can move him around, create mismatches, and keep offenses guessing. And let's talk about his physical profile for a second, because it really does jump off the page. When you look at his testing numbers, especially in terms of burst and speed, you're seeing an athlete who can close gaps in a hurry. His acceleration off the line is one of his biggest weapons, allowing him to pressure quarterbacks before plays even have a chance to fully develop. Even without elite agility testing numbers, his game speed tells you everything you need to know. He plays fast, reacts quickly, and doesn't hesitate when he sees an opening. For the Patriots, this kind of addition would address more than just pass rushing. One of the biggest issues in recent seasons has been setting the edge against the run. Too often, opposing offenses have been able to exploit that weakness, turning what should be short gains into something much more damaging. This is where a well-rounded edge defender becomes invaluable. You need someone who can not only chase down quarterbacks, but also hold their ground, shed blocks, and make plays in the run game. Looking at the current roster, there are pieces in place, but it still feels incomplete. There are veterans who bring experience, and there are younger players who show flashes, but there isn't that one consistent presence who can anchor the edge position and elevate the entire unit. Adding a player with this kind of profile changes that dynamic immediately. It creates competition, adds depth, and most importantly, raises the ceiling of the defense as a whole. And when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture of this draft class, it becomes even clearer why this approach makes sense. This is a year where edge talent is deep, but that doesn't mean you wait around and hope someone falls into your lap later. If you have the chance to secure a high-upside player at a premium position in the first round, you take it. You don't overthink it, and you don't try to get too cute with the strategy. Of course, there will always be debates. Some will argue for a wide receiver, others might push for help in the secondary, and those are valid discussions. But when you're building a team that wants to compete at the highest level, it starts in the trenches. It starts with being able to control the line of scrimmage, pressure the quarterback, and dictate the pace of the game. That's exactly what this type of player brings to the table, and that's why this pick feels not only logical, but necessary as the Patriots continue shaping their identity heading into the future. As the draft moves into the second round, the strategy starts to shift just a little bit, but the urgency to find real impact players remains exactly the same. This is where the Patriots have a chance to add a dynamic weapon to their offense, someone who can grow alongside their quarterback and bring a completely different dimension to the passing game. And when you look at the type of receiver that fits what this team is missing, it becomes clear that size, reach, and vertical threat ability should be at the top of the priority list. That is why a big-bodied wide receiver stands out as the perfect move here. We're talking about a player with legitimate size, standing at 6'5" and weighing around 200 pounds, someone who can immediately become a problem for defensive backs. His presence alone forces defenses to adjust, especially in one-on-one coverage situations where his catch radius becomes a massive advantage. But what really separates him from other options is not just his frame, it's the way he uses it down the field. Over the course of his most recent season, his production took a noticeable leap. He became a go-to target, hauling in over 60 receptions and surpassing the 1,000-yard mark while consistently finding the end zone. Those numbers don't just happen by accident. They reflect growth, confidence, and a deeper understanding of how to attack defenses at a higher level. What's even more impressive is how efficient he was when the ball was thrown his way, especially on deeper routes where timing and precision are everything. This is where things get really interesting when you connect the dots with the Patriots' current situation. Their quarterback has already shown that he thrives when pushing the ball down the field. He's comfortable taking those deep shots, trusting his arm, and giving his receivers a chance to make plays in space. Pairing him with a receiver who excels in that exact area feels like a natural fit. It's the kind of combination that can stretch defenses, open up the field underneath, and create opportunities for everyone else in the offense. Another key detail that stands out is reliability. Despite being targeted frequently, especially on more difficult throws, this receiver showed strong hands and consistency. Drops were not a major issue, and that kind of dependability is something every quarterback values. When you're trying to build rhythm in an offense, knowing that your target will come down with the ball more often than not makes a huge difference. And let's not overlook the progression he's made throughout his college career. Starting at a smaller program before stepping into a bigger spotlight, he didn't just survive the transition, he thrived in it. That tells you a lot about his mentality and work ethic. He's someone who adapts, improves, and rises to the level of competition. Those are exactly the traits you want in a player who's about to make the jump to the professional stage. Moving into the third round, the focus shifts once again, this time toward adding versatility and depth to the offense in a different way. Tight end becomes a position that cannot be ignored, especially when you consider the current roster and what the future might look like. There is experience there, no doubt, but long-term stability is still a question. Bringing in a young player who can develop while contributing right away is a smart move. This particular tight end prospect brings a balanced skill set that fits perfectly with what the Patriots need. He's not just a pass catcher, and he's not just a blocker. He's a combination of both, which is exactly what modern offenses demand from the position. His route running shows promise, with fluid movement and the ability to create separation, but there is still room for growth, which actually makes his upside even more appealing. What stands out the most is his athletic profile. He moves with urgency, plays with energy, and shows flashes of being able to make big plays when given the opportunity. At the same time, he has the foundation to become a reliable blocker, which is critical in an offense that values versatility and balance. Having a tight end who can stay on the field in multiple situations keeps defenses guessing and allows for more creative play calling. Statistically, his production reflects a player who contributed steadily while still developing his full potential. He may not have eye-popping numbers across the board, but the consistency is there, and the trajectory is pointing upward. That's often what teams look for in this range of the draft, someone who may not be a finished product yet, but has all the tools to become one with the right coaching and environment. And when you think about how he would fit into the Patriots system, it makes even more sense. He wouldn't be forced into a leading role right away. Instead, he could learn from a veteran presence, gradually expanding his responsibilities as he becomes more comfortable at the next level. That kind of development path can be incredibly valuable, allowing a player to grow without the pressure of having to carry the position from day one. At this stage of the draft, it's all about building layers within the roster. You're not just looking for immediate starters. You're looking for contributors, role players, and future pieces that can keep the team competitive over the long haul. By adding a vertical threat at wide receiver and a versatile tight end shortly after, the Patriots would be taking meaningful steps toward reshaping their offensive identity and giving their quarterback the support he needs to elevate his game even further as the draft continues to unfold. The fourth round becomes a spot where smart teams separate themselves by targeting players who bring versatility and effort, even if they don't come with perfect measurables. This is where adding a linebacker with hybrid ability starts to make a lot of sense for New England. Someone who can line up off the ball but also step up to the edge when needed brings a level of flexibility that defensive coordinators love. And when you watch this type of player on tape, what stands out immediately is the motor. He's constantly around the football, closing gaps quickly and making plays that don't always show up on highlight reels but matter just as much. There are, of course, some concerns when it comes to size and ideal frame for the position, and that's likely the reason he's still available at this stage. But what he may lack in prototypical build, he makes up for with explosiveness and athleticism. His testing numbers back that up, showing strong burst and movement skills that translate well to the modern game. In a league where speed is becoming more important than ever, having a linebacker who can keep up with quicker offenses and still contribute in multiple roles is a valuable asset. For the Patriots specifically, this addition would be about reinforcing depth while also creating competition. The current group has some solid contributors, but there isn't a clear third option who can consistently step in and make an impact across different situations. Bringing in a player like this changes that dynamic. It gives the coaching staff more options, whether it's in base defense, sub-packages, or even special teams, where his athletic profile could make an immediate difference. And that's really the theme as this draft progresses. It's not just about finding stars. It's about building a complete roster with players who complement each other and fill specific roles. By this point, the Patriots would have addressed key needs on both sides of the ball, adding pass rush, receiving talent, and now defensive versatility. Each move starts to connect, forming a clearer picture of a team that is trying to become faster, more physical, and more adaptable in every phase of the game. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our New England Patriots. And don't be shy, share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. A sudden move has stirred intense debate across the American football landscape, as Kevin Byard finds himself at the center of attention following his unexpected arrival at the New England Patriots. What initially looked like a calculated veteran addition has quickly turned into a polarizing storyline, fueling speculation about the true intentions behind the signing. League insiders whisper that this is either a masterstroke of experience or a desperate gamble on a player nearing the twilight of his career. Byard, long respected for his football IQ and leadership, brings undeniable pedigree. However, questions linger about whether his best days are behind him, or if a new environment could reignite the spark that once made him one of the league's most reliable defensive presences. Within media circles, opinions are sharply divided. Some analysts suggest the Patriots are banking on Byard's veteran instincts to stabilize a defense in transition, pointing to his ability to read plays and mentor younger talent. Others, however, see this as a move that signals uncertainty, a franchise possibly leaning too heavily on past reputation rather than future upside. There are also murmurs about the locker room dynamic. Byard's arrival could reshape the hierarchy, potentially elevating the competitive standard but also risking friction if expectations are not met. The Patriots' culture has always thrived on discipline and adaptability, yet integrating a high-profile veteran into that system is never without its challenges. Fans, meanwhile, are caught between excitement and skepticism. Social media has been ablaze with contrasting takes, ranging from optimism about a defensive resurgence to concerns that the move reflects a lack of long-term vision. As speculation continues to swirl, one thing is clear. This signing has ignited a narrative far bigger than a simple roster addition. Whether Kevin Byard's chapter in New England becomes a story of resurgence or a cautionary tale remains uncertain, but the spotlight is firmly on him, and the football world is watching closely. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.